cut by Charlie. Weiss was a cup of coffee, and he was flying there on his little pick. Oh, my gosh. Wasn't your fault. I know they demand get these cuts on, but, boy, that was a rough one. Here is Ron in Michigan. He's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Ron, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Hey, Doug, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'd like to see both road teams win tomorrow, so that way the game's on Sunday. All four teams will be playing to host their respective championship games. I think that'd be pretty good.
Ma, you're asking Tennessee to win in Foxborough, which means Jacksonville and Pittsburgh would be playing for a home game. And if Atlanta wins, then New Orleans and Minnesota are playing for a home game. Listen, the way to look at it is this way. Last week, you had the four underdogs cover, and you know how football goes. This week, watch all four favorites cover. So it's very dubious of how to handle this. I do think that, I would take the home teams tomorrow. I would love to see. I think Tennessee will be competitive. I think they're going to be feisty. I think they'll cover but not win. I think that, I'm going to take the Eagles, but I think both teams will win the game. Both teams will win the game. Go ahead. Next.
Well, I was going to say, do you think Marietta can go up there in New England and play a game like Michael Vick did at Green Bay that Saturday night a few years back?
And Vick, of course, in the snow beat the Packers and Mike Sherman. It's going to take that kind of performance out of Mariota. You have to outscore the Patriots. They're going to score every time. You have to outscore them. That's how Houston almost beat them there. That's how obviously Carolina scored 33 that day. That's how they beat them there. Buffalo scored a lot of points for a half and then didn't score any more, and that was the end of that. You have to outscore the Pats in that building. They're going to score 28 to 35 points every week. They're going to be in the low 30s minimum, and you got to top that if you're going to have a chance to knock them out in this postseason. Here's Tyron in Tennessee, Mad Dog Unleashed. Tyron, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Doing good, Chris. Good to talk to you again, sir.
Good to have you aboard, Tyron. Let me hear now. What do you have for me?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, the first point, I think New England wins tomorrow. I think it's going to be closer than more than what the Boston Boston media thinks. I'm a big Brady fan. I think he's going to have a huge game tomorrow. I think he's going to be chomping at the bit because I believe the piece that came out last week, and if you ask me personally, I think it was a Brady hit piece. I thought he'd come out. He looked pretty bad in the article when you read and go through it and dissect it, and I think tomorrow he is going to have a big-time game coming off a bye. So I think the Pats will win. I think it'll be a game, and they'll sprint out late third, early fourth, and I got them winning 34-27. But I do think it's going to be a much more competitive.
All right, so you think the points will be good? You take the 2 touchdowns. I would.
Yeah, I take the points.
I would too. I know you don't win money against New England taking points. They usually do what they have to do to always cover. But 2 touchdowns is a lot. They did come from behind last week. Tennessee's got a little karma. 99% of the American betting public is going to bet the Pats, and I can understand why, thinking that Tennessee doesn't have this second game in them in back-to-back weeks. But for fun, it's fun to root for the underdog. It's not fun rooting for the Patriots to bludgeon somebody. I would take that's one reason, and then I think that maybe Tennessee got a little karma. I would take the points too. Go ahead. What else?
Yeah. And I tell you, because I want to say this to the public and to the people. We're comparing this Patriot teams against other great Patriot teams, and they don't stack up to them. But that being said, there's nobody out there to expose them. Because I heard you one day early in the week, I think you said they've got 3 opportunities to lose.
Yep.
Let me be clear. Of all the teams that's left, there's the one team that's got a chance against the Pats, and that is the New Orleans Saints. Now, if we get to the Super Bowl and it's the Saints and Patriots, we got some. Pittsburgh, I don't care. There is no way in hell they're winning in Foxborough next week. They can sit back and talk and say they want to get back there. New England is going to blow Pittsburgh away next week. And if anybody but the Saints, and this includes Minnesota, and I know they're hosting the Super Bowl, if you're going to beat the Pats, Drew Brees and Sean Payton's your best hope. If they get punched out, this isn't the greatest Patriot team, but they will host the Sis Lombardi, and the only threat is the Saints.
He likes this. All right.
Don't tell me Jacksonville and anybody else. It's not happening.
All right, so Tyron likes to, and I can understand that. Saints, Peyton, everything else. I do think the Patriots are going to lose a game. I just think that everything has bounced their way the last 4 or 5 years, whether it's Seattle and Malcolm Butler, last year 28-3, the Pittsburgh regular season game. I think the football gods are going to cost them a big game somewhere along the line. It's hard to see it this week, but I do see that happening here in the next couple. Eric in Long Island, an Eagle fan who's getting a little nervous, getting ready to go down to Philadelphia tomorrow, and he says hello. Eric, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing good, dog. To Tyrone's last point, let's not forget, though, the Saints did lose to the Patriots week 2, 36-20 in their building, down 33-10 after the third quarter.
I remember. I remember the game.
But, Brady lit that team up. Dog, if I was playing these 4 games tomorrow, obviously leaving the Eagle game aside, what I would do is I would take the Eagles on the money line, I'd take the Saints on the money line, and I'd lay the points with both the Steelers and Patriots. In my mind, the only way you lose that Patriot game against the Titans is a backdoor cover. I think the Patriots will be up 17 points mid-fourth quarter, and then you got to hope that they hold on and cover that 13 points.
And the Patriots usually do. The Patriots are the one. The Patriots usually add on, don't get covered by. So when the Patriots have that kind of lead, it usually ends up 24 instead of 10. 17-point lead fourth quarter. So I would, if you're up 7, if you're covering in the fourth quarter, and you know why? Because for Belichick, every play counts, and he plays the game out. So he wants to add on, and he's going to get annoyed if they get a cheap touchdown. A lot of other teams don't care. He does. So the Patriots are usually better in that scenario, trying to cover a big number, because they usually do what they have to do to put the game away even more than normal.
I agree. Now, as far as the Eagles go, dog, listen, the stat I saw earlier today, dome teams in 35-degree or less weather in their last 27 playoff games are 4-23. So that's something that's trending the Eagles' direction. It's going to be about 29 degrees at kickoff. The temperatures are going to drop as the game goes on with a little bit of wind mixed in. See, to me, this game comes down to the first quarter only. If I'm Doug Peterson, I win the coin toss, obviously I'm deferring. The last thing I want to do is put Nick Foles in a situation where he has a quick 3 and out and you got the restless crowd, including myself.
Yeah, don't boo. By the way, tomorrow, do yourself a favor. You booed the Eagles off the field at halftime in the Raider game on Christmas night. You think maybe tomorrow you don't boo the team if it's 3-3 at the half and you give them a little break? Can you Eagle fans at least show a little decorum tomorrow, a little confidence in your backup quarterback?
I agree. Listen, there's 3-3 at the half. I don't think we'd be in major trouble. But I'll tell you right now, dog, Foles, if Foles has 2 possessions, say, in the first quarter, if the Eagles are able to come out of that first quarter 7-7, if Foles is able to show something early in the game on one of the first couple of drives, doesn't have to be the first drive, it doesn't have to be the second drive, even the third drive, if they can get some points early, build up his confidence, and they can go into the second quarter, into halftime, I think they could be all right in this game. The question to me is, can they get out of the first quarter alive where they're not down, 10-0 or so? Because if Foles is in a situation where he's down 10-0 and let alone 14-0, forget about it. The Eagles have no shot.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Foles has to make a play or two in this game, and he's got to play pretty well. I don't have a feel of him. He did lose a playoff game with the Saints 3 or 4 years ago. He was not terrible in the game, but, he wasn't very, very good. I don't know how to read I would think he'd be okay. He's had a couple of weeks. He hasn't played. They should be a little fresher. We'll see how Peterson plays it. You can go one or two ways if you're Peterson. Get him involved in the game right away. Give him a little confidence. Let him throw the ball early on. You could do that because you're going to need him eventually. So get him involved in the game right away. Let him get the cobwebs out where the turnover in the first 5 minutes is not going to kill you. You could do it that way, or you can cut down the possessions immediately, defer at the start if you win the toss, and run the ball to 2 running backs and play field position and make it a defensive game. You could do either one of those 2 things right out of the gate. I do think Atlanta will be conservative because I think Atlanta is going to want to see if Foles can beat him. And they don't want to give the Eagles any extra, advantage with turnovers, short fields, and what have you. So I don't think I think they're going to be satisfied to play field position until they see that Foles is going to be a dangerous opponent. And we'll see if, I think that's how Quinn is going to play it. Plus, he's a defensive coach anyway. It's funny in this game, if Wentz played, the spread would be over a touchdown for the Eagles. He doesn't play, and the Eagles are getting 3. He's a 10-point swing in this game. When you think about that, that's hard to believe. Here is Derek in New Jersey. He's got a chance, and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Derek, good afternoon. How are you today?
Oh, thanks, Doggy. I am a refugee.
A refugee. All right, we got a little refugee here in the mix. Give you a little welcome in theme song. Tom Petty on the life raft, bouncing around the Long Island Sound, and you found a way to SiriusXM. Okay, Derek, what do you have for me today? What's on your mind now?
Doggy, I came in hoping you were going to break down Australian Open tennis today.
I did that yesterday.
Oh, damn, I missed it. Sorry. The NFC, you can make a case that all 4 of those teams can go to the Super Bowl, which is good. You can't make the case in the AFC that all 4 teams can go to the Super Bowl. So, to your point, I think the AFC could be a snooze fest.
Yeah, Derek, I think the AFC could be dangerous. I don't know if you can make a case for Phil. Well, they're home, so I guess you'd have to. You're right. You could make a case for all 4, and you cannot make a case for the 2 AFC. And, I think you meant that sarcastically. The Aussie Open was broken down superbly yesterday at 3 Eastern Time. We continue. It's on the web. I'm sure you can find it. We continue here on Mad Dog.